from Rivers State. My dear colleagues, the motion is on the need for the Central Bank of Nigeria to comply with the provisions of Section 50, subsection 1 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Establishment Act. The House is aware that the Central Bank of Nigeria was established under the Central Bank of Nigeria Establishment Act, Cap C4, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004. The House is also aware that Section 50, subsection 1 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act provides that the bank shall, within 2 months after the close of each financial year, transmit to the National Assembly and the President a copy of its annual accounts certified by the auditor. The House is further aware that the Central Bank of Nigeria has not been complying with the above provisions, thereby rendering the law nugatory and of no effect. The House notes with concern the need for the Central Bank of Nigeria to comply with provisions of Section 50, subsection 1 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Establishment Act, Cap C4, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004. The House is concerned that non-compliance by the Central Bank of Nigeria with the above provision has greatly undermined the image, reputation, and effectiveness of the bank, and as well undermined the oversight functions of the National Assembly. The House regrets the apparent breach of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act, which constitutes an illegality and should not be allowed to stand. The House is also concerned that unless this illegality or anomaly by the Central Bank of Nigeria is immediately and urgently addressed, the whole essence of the said section of the Act will be defeated and rendered useless and nugatory. The House is called upon to resolve as follows. 1. To urge the Central Bank of Nigeria to comply with the provisions of Section 50, subsection 1 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act, and ensure that it transmits to the National Assembly a copy of its annual account certified by the auditor. And 2, mandate the House committees on banking and currency and legislative compliance to ensure compliance with the resolution. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I so move. Mr. Speaker, thank you, my dear colleagues. My dear colleagues, and of course the Central Bank, which is established by law, regulated by law, and her transactions are also guided by the same Central Bank Act. A particular section of that law, Section 50, subsection 1, provides that 2 months after each financial year, the Central Bank ought to tender before this House its audited account. And over the years, this section of the law has been ignored by the Central Bank. For the drafters of this law, there is no doubt a reason behind that particular section or subsection. And one of such reasons is to enable the legislature perform its oversight function concerning central banks and its financial transactions. But because that has not been complied, which I think is intentional, it has also robbed this legislature of that function, that oversight function that it would have performed. And at the long run, Nigerians are also being robbed of the benefits of such oversight function. By this motion, I'm only calling on us to look at this infraction by Central Bank and begin to correct it by urging them to ensure that they comply with the law, tender before the National Assembly their annual financial report as presented by their auditors. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, it's very straightforward, it's simple, it is not one that is contentious. I therefore urge us to support this motion